No road back to Texas. Indeed, there is a road back to Texas as we return to play our first show there in many years last year.
Yeah. Rowlett, Texas, right outside of the Dallas-Fort Worth area, which is where we lived for a little while.
Joining the list of songs about not returning to states.
It is a thing.
It is a thing. There's Never Go Back to Georgia. It was like some type of discrimination thing that went on. I can't remember the exact situation.
Okay, so correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't like Georgia on my mind? One of the ones about Georgia, wasn't that artist banned from Georgia for a time? They actually couldn't go back to Georgia?
I'm not sure.
Oh, now I gotta go. You're gonna have to.
Now we have a rabbit holes.
Now I gotta go do a deep dive.
Of course, this is a song we wrote. You know, you primarily.
Is this our first chat about one of the originals?
Is
this the first chat about
official
one of our originals? Chat? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Or did we talk about Hello October? I'm not sure.
We might have talked.
I don't think we did talk about Hello October. I think we maybe briefly talked. But this is one of the first songs that we wrote together for the Sugar Lime Blue project, I think. It was very early. Oh. And originally it was not intended to be on our first album.
No, I didn't want it on the album. You convinced me that it should be on the album.
It's a good song.
That wasn't up for debate.
I'm your cheerleader. So, I like it. I like how it's transformed over the years. Has a little bit of a country flavor, but I've always thought of it more of like the way Little Feat would play a country flavored song.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I've always associated it to that genre more so than country.
Like a true country. I like to say it's got a country flavor to it. It's not like country. It would be the difference between having a soup that has some cayenne pepper in it versus eating a cayenne pepper.
Although, fun fact, a fairly notable music promoter in Nashville has heard the song and said that it was too country for modern country radio.
What are you going to do? What are you going to do?
So that maybe tells you the state of what country music is in Nashville, Tennessee nowadays. Yeah. And this is not just somebody that has an unweighted opinion.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
So
it was amusing to hear.
It was amusing to hear that. And, of course, we touch on some country stylings.
Yeah,
we've been here so long. And
nothing's really out of the realm of reach for us musically. I think we haven't taken any genres or influences off the table. I think that's really limiting when you're saying we're not going to touch on any of these. It would be like saying we're not going to play any of these chords.
Right.
Why would you limit
When
yourself?
we started this band, and we started the music, I don't think we said we want to sound like.
No.
I think the only things we said is we don't really want to do this or we don't really want to do that. Like, we don't want to sound like a metal band.
Yeah.
We don't want to do...
Well,
but that doesn't mean we don't have heavy sections in some of our music.
No, and the way that I style my melody doesn't lend itself necessarily to rap.
Right.
And you haven't ever showed any interest in that, so we don't have that in our music. We're not strictly opposed to even that. That's just not what has come out of us.
Everything is on the table.
Yeah.
Every time we play.
Every time we meet to create, everything's on the table. And I feel like I want to let the song become kind of what it wants to become, where our mood is in that moment and where the song is coming from, because we're a part of it. We're adding our own flavor to it. Mm-hmm. But the song inherently has its own meter and its own, almost like it's alive or an entity or something that wants to grow into something on its own. I
look at it that way too. Like, there's a creative idea waiting to be called forth.
Mm-hmm.
And it's almost like how I've heard sculptors say that this was an eagle waiting to be carved from this log.
Right.
Or this was a, bowl waiting to be carved from this piece of granite.
Right.
And I much feel like that from the song. It's like you find something in the rough. and you strip away all the things that it's not, and you're left with what it is.
Well, see, I actually like to build a song from a different direction. Like it's almost got, it's sculpting, but in the negative of what you just said, I guess the positive. So it's got an amorphic shape, but I kind of look at it like you look at a cloud and you see a rabbit or a horse or whatever you see in the cloud. And then you shape it to be a little more defined. And then you add more and more to it till the horse shape actually has a tail and clearly defined hooves and nostrils and a mane. And you make it more and more rather than take away from what's not it. But I think that's because...
I think maybe we operate in both sometimes.
Yeah.
Because
we definitely sharpen each other when we're writing together.
I think of this song and I think of, well, it's pretty much like a standard song would be. You know, I mean, it has verse, it has a chorus, it has a bridge or like a pre-chorus.
A hook. A hook for like a chorus, yeah.
But we've also written songs that have no truly defined chorus to me. Like they don't seem chorusy. A song like... even though The Breeze has a hook to it, like it kind of has a hooky part, it doesn't seem as traditional in the
I mean, it does have a repeating. You know? And as much as that Go Home is the same way.
Go Home has a pretty hooky chorus, I think.
It's a hooky chorus, but it's the same concept, really.
Yeah. But I don't think we set out to say, what I'm getting at is like, you know, I follow a lot of songwriters and people
don't use a
that
formula.
tell you how to do certain things. And I don't think that we stick to the formula. And,
I don't know, maybe.
And I think so far it's kind of served us in its own way.
It's made me happy.
But then maybe it alienates some people because there's a formula because it works, right? People listen and they expect to hear certain things. And maybe when they don't hear certain things, they're like, oh, what's this? Change. I'm running away.
Well, we are at a stage in our scientific and technological advancement that the people who study such things have figured out there are certain formulas, we'll just continue to use that the human brain through the human ear will grab onto. And that's some of what you see as commercial success. So because, for instance, if you were to liken it to a flavor, everybody likes, let's say, and this is just going to be, it's going to be false and a big generalization. We're going to say everybody loves pasta. Okay. So everybody loves pasta, but specifically with this sauce or specifically in this shape. And everybody's over here churning out a bunch of pasta, but maybe not in the right shape, or maybe with that sauce, but with a little bit different ingredients to it. So it's that same sort of thing. We figured out what everybody's gonna like, but I don't necessarily feel like I just want to pump out things for the purpose of having commercial success. I don't think that's
not the goal we
part. No,
right?
I think.
And I mean,
for us,
people that do like that, they can do the same. They can do however they want.
Go for it. I feel like for me, the creative process is the point. Creating, and we've covered this ground before.
Uniqueness.
Yeah, I like not doing what everybody else is doing. I like not following a formula.
Well, we've also been told, by that same person and other people in the music industry that we've been told to conform.
Yes. Pick a genre. We've
also been told that, the success can come easier for sound-alike artists. But success,
we've seen it.
But we've also been told that success will come harder for pioneers.
Yes.
And we've been told that we were pioneers.
Yeah.
And that if you may not always have success as a pioneer, but if you do, that it could be much more than a sound-alike artist.
Well, it's so funny. I find it really funny that we would be classed as pioneers. I guess it would be modern pioneers would be a little bit more accurate, because I feel like
this is familiarity.
Some of the things that we pull from, it's not new.
Mm-mm.
It's not new. It's ground that's been covered. The Grateful Dead, for instance, because they had such a massive catalog, they're easy to cite. They had their irons in the fire of multiple genres. And Jerry Garcia had the background in the bluegrass music, and you could hear when you're listening for it. You hear that come out in the band of the Grateful Dead.
They're considered a rock band, but they covered mostly country songs.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
interesting.
And you look at Linda Ronstadt, for instance. Her music was considered country in the time, but if you were to put it on today's modern music, I think they'd probably class it Americana, maybe even classic rock at this point.
Well, she transferred. She was definitely a genre spanning artist. Like by the 80s, she was much more of a pop artist than a country act, for sure. However, I would it's hard for me because I would consider ourselves a rock band, simply. But if you look at the rock acts of today, we don't fit. If you look at rock acts of 10 years ago, we don't fit. If you look at rock acts of 20 years ago, we don't fit. But when I say rock band in the truest sense, I think of it in the base sense of rock band. And if you look at a band in the 80s, like 70s, like Led Zeppelin or Fleetwood Mac, or, perhaps even other artists, and definitely other artists. If at the time, Led Zeppelin was considered a rock band. Some would even consider them heavy rock band.
Right.
But there's been studies done that over 60% of their materials featured acoustic guitar as the primary instrument.
And they're ballady.
So
a lot of them are very slow.
end up being a heavy rock band with an acoustic? And if you listen to their songs, they definitely have things that are almost singer-songwritery with acoustic and vocal almost primarily featured. They have mandolin featured on a lot of their tracks.
Very moody.
They have very moody. There's a lot of different things going on there. Fleetwood Mac, the same way. The Rolling Stones, they were like a blues rock band. I'd say we draw from some of that, But like you listen to something like Fleetwood Mac, they have also singer-songwriter things, right? Where they do like just a finger-picking guitar and a vocal, and that's some of their biggest hits. And that's truly like a folk song, right? I mean, it would be considered a folk song, but they're considered a rock band. Nowadays, like if you don't sit in a certain sound profile, then you're not a rock band.
Right.
You're this other thing.
And it's very small.
And we've been called many things because people can't label us. We've been called folk rock band.
Yes.
We've been called a blues rock band. We've been called psychedelic rock. We've been called a jam band.
Yes.
We tend to gravitate to a jam band because to me, one of the descriptions is jam band is that you play a lot of different genres and you feature improvisation. So
which we do heavily in our live show.
But also you could say in a blues rock band that you play bluesy rock and variations of rock and roll with improvisation, So, I mean, there's lots of crossing over. People say that we're folk rock. I think that in some ways, like lyrically speaking, because like as a lyricist, you tend to gravitate more towards stories and stuff like the folk artists did, like Joni Mitchell, Joan Baez, Bob Dylan, that type of thing, the storytelling. However, we also feature a lot of instrumentation and, diverse, stylings of genres to the music. We play everything from country to reggae, and it's apparent in the music.
Yeah,
we play live.
Well, I find it interesting, too, that people are so invested in these micro genres, too, and, like, so invested in classing everybody in these genres.
And I think about that a lot too, and it bothers me. I think it bothers a lot of artists being stuffed into a box like this is what you are.
Right.
And Ray LaMontagne that we saw last week, he doesn't like being stuffed into the singer-songwriter box.
Right.
And I think it's an easy way for record labels specifically
to market. It's marketability.
And sell more music to people because they're like, oh, you like the style of music. If you like X, you'll like Y.
Yes.
But let's face it, that's not always true, right?
Again,
because
to the
some
formulas,
people listen to Beyonce and they listen to Willie Nelson and they listen to,
Fish.
The Grateful Dead and Fish.
Yeah.
And they listen to, Alanis Morissette and they listen to Nirvana and they listen to, whatever they feel like classical, and like you listen to all these things. So how do you market to me? It's music. To me, there's two genres of music: good music, bad music.
Even then, it's like
And those
it's
are my
still
personal
really
genres.
subjective
It is.
too,
You know, that's what I'm
because
saying. My personal genres.
Yeah.
You know? There's the music I like. There's the music I don't like.
There you
Maybe is a
go.
better
That's
way to
it.
put
Yeah, because I think even the music that you would think is music that's not for you is still music for someone. It's still on their good list.
And then, have you ever had songs that you don't like? You at first you're like, meh, I don't like this. Or I don't want to hear this. Or you flip it off, or you get overwhelmed with it. You hear it too much. You don't like it. But then years later, or weeks later, sometimes even just days later, you hear the song and you're like, why am I being resistant to this song? It's actually a really good song.
Yeah.
Or actually, this song hits me in a way. You know, it's not that I don't like it. It's not something I need right now.
I think it really depends on where you're at as a listener. And I think that a lot of songs, sometimes I feel like the opposite. When I hear them to begin with, it's like, oh, that's nice. But then, especially in the days where I listen to more radio, they would get overplayed. And I would just need a break from the song for a while. And then I would resist the song then because I had heard it a little too much. It was a little too inundated by it. And then years later, go back and still have that tendency to want to skip the song on a CD or whatever. And then because I'm too lazy to go skip the song, I listen to it and I'm like, oh, no, that's really good. This is a good song. Or for whatever reason, we've even written a song that I was listening to. Oh, update. All the lyrics are now up on our website. If you have a question about any of the songs that we've written, any of our originals, the lyrics are now updated on our music page of our website. So you can go and listen and understand the lyrics.
And verified by yours truly.
Yeah, there might be some typos in there because I typed it. Anyway, onto there, even on our albums, there's songs that I have resisted that we wrote. And for one reason or another, we haven't played them live, either because we didn't have the instrumentation to recreate them properly, or we have other songs that are just so much fun to play live that we just sort of bypass them. Yeah. Like these are the most accessible ones, even as we bring in new members and whatnot. There's some that are easier. So you pick that low hanging fruit first as a band and get those firmly tucked under your belt before you move on to some of the more, the B-sides basically. And
well, the B-sides in your own mind, who knows what other people think they are.
I know, but listening through so that I could accurately get these lyrics, I was listening to one of these songs that I have avoided and gone, man, it's a good song. This is a well-written song. It's got really interesting parts. It's got good lyrics. Why aren't we doing this song?
Yeah, right.
So
we gotta relearn our own catalog.
Yeah, we got to relearn our own songs. Yeah, for sure. And listening through, we've changed things for some of the way that we deliver the songs live are completely different from the studio version. So it's interesting.
To everybody out there that's heard us live, that's heard a Sugarline Blues show or been to a show, let us know what genre you think we are.
Oh, this is going to be interesting.
And then,
okay.
Or even if you just want to,
just chime in.
If you want to check out some of the stuff on our CDs and let us know what genre you think we are. And then let us know.
Yeah.
No Road Back to Texas, A-side or B-side? And what would be the A-side of the B-side? Because we've always thought that, like, in our own minds, we consider it more of a... Maybe not a song we play all the time, but we kind of have the suspicions that other people consider it an A-side.
Part of it's because I'm really resistant to playing it because when I first wrote it, I literally as I was delivering the idea of the song to you, I said, this is not an SLB song. This is maybe to sell it to a country artist.
And I said, wrong.
You did. You did. It took a little bit of arm twisting for me to agree to have it
regularly, and I think like a lot of people consider it a song that we should feature more.
A staple, yeah.
And we consider it more of a still. We have better
But
material.
So the thing is, like, you'll put it on the set list, and I'll be like, nah, skip that. That's really my fault. But no, we didn't play it in Texas.
No. It is a good song though when we play it.
It
does have.
Yeah, it's fun. It is. It is fun. Yeah, I think though that it is one of the songs. Maybe because I have been resistant to playing it, that perhaps there's another part in there that hasn't become yet, and maybe it's just waiting on me.
Some people would add verses to the song years later. Maybe you have another verse to add.
Maybe I got another verse to add. I don't know. Rowlett did change my mind a little bit about Texas. Going back to Texas, because they were super duper hospitable to us. Yeah. We had an amazing time.
An amazing crowd.
We met Hispanic Elvis, who was so engaging and invited us to join his book club, which we went over there and joined the book club for a little while. Yeah, that was fun. It was fun. We had a great time in Rowlett. So thank you, Rowlett, for, inviting us back to Texas. So. Yes.